welcome to Very Terrible. Today we need to go to Occult Inferno, featuring the new Delphox V from Lost Origin, with a magical fire attack doing 120 damage to your opponent's active, plus 120 more to one of their bench. So this is the new Snipe card from Lost Origin, which actually requires you to put 2 energy attached to this Pokemon into the Lost Zone each time you use this attack. So how do we conserve our energy for us to use this attack as much as possible? We have our Charizard from Pokemon Go with the Burn Brightly ability, turning each basic fire energy into a double fire. We're also playing Radiant Greninja with Magma Basin to help us collect more energies onto our Pokemon, and also for the extra draw. To help us attack fast, we have one copy of Entei V doing Burning Rondo for only 2 energies, hitting big damage early in the game. We even have 1 Heatmor for the additional Snipe, and 1 Crobat V for the draw support. To summon our basic Pokemon, we have 4 Vapor Pass, 4 Quick Ball, 2 Capture, and 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball. For the evolution, we have 3 Incense and 1 Ultra Ball. For the switch, we have 2 Escape Rope, 1 Switch, and 1 Bird Keeper. On to our supporter cards, we're playing 1 Marnie, 2 Research, 1 Schoolgirl, 1 Cynthia, 1 Bruno, 1 Zinni's Resolve, and 1 Boss's Orders. We also have 1 Skylar to help us search for our Rare Candy, Incense, Stadium, or even our Escape Rope, 1 Choice Bell, and 2 Telescopic Sight for the damage boost, 1 Rod to shuffle back our Pokemon and energies, and 10 basic fire energy. So that's all for the deck list, and be sure to grab yourself some packs from our sponsor at XTrainer90 Team to build your very own deck from any cards in format. They even sell online codes for character rares, full art, and gold cards to expand your collection. So check out the link in the description below, or click on the top right corner of this video to enhance your PTCG experience. Use code BTT for 5% off any products to get yourself some lovely cards. And now for the moment of truth, let's go for some gameplays! Okay, let's go for our first game. We're up against a Lost Origin deck. They got Comfy, Azul GG's, Cramorant, Lost deck. They're playing a full-on basic with Sableye and also Mirage Gate for Radiant Charizard. I don't think they have Mirage Gate, my bad, because they are playing a 1 energy deck and Cramorant doesn't actually need any energies. So Mirage Gate actually helps you search for any type of energy though, which is pretty cool. 2 different type of energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. It is better for decks that require, attacks that require 2 or more energies. So I suppose you don't really need that for a Radiant Charizard Sableye deck. So I would prefer playing Energy Search because you don't need to wait until you have 7 cards in the Lost Zone. All you need to do is just play the item Energy Search and then get either your Fire or Psychic Energy with those items. Attach them to your Pokemon to do either Combustion Blast or even your Lost Mine. I think it's called Lost Mine, I forgot Sableye's attack, but it helps you place 12 damage counter in any way you like onto your opponent's Pokemon. So the main weakness for that deck, the deck that they are playing right now, is heal. If your opponent heals, if you play against an opponent that keeps on healing their Pokemon, or if they can tank a lot of damage and reduce damage onto your Pokemon like a Hisuian Gudra, I don't think they stand a good chance at winning because they do have that 12 damage counter placement though. Kind of getting past the damage reduction, but it's only 12 damage counter. How are you gonna do more after that? And Hisuian Gudra got Fantina. They probably are gonna play Fantina with Gudra, so that's gonna be a bit more difficult to knock out with your 1 prize Lost deck. But Radiant Charizard is doing a lot of damage. All they need to do is play the Rod to keep on reviving that card, and then Mirage Gate at some point, just because Radiant Charizard actually requires a lot of energies early in the game. So if your opponent has drawn like 2 prizes, you still need 3 energies on the Charizard. So I think Mirage Gate with Rod would be great for this deck, but they actually did not play any Rods. I don't know why, but they chose not to play any Rods and added a bit more Pokemons in their deck. I would actually do a few Dittos as well, just because you have, well, you can't actually use Cramorant though. I don't think there's any point playing a Ditto, because Ditto cannot use Cramorant's attack unless if it has 3 energies. Because Cramorant has the ability that allows you to basically attack for 0 energy, but Ditto doesn't have that ability. So Ditto cannot basically use Cramorant's attack. You can only use Sableye. Radiant Charizard is a rule box Pokemon, so if it's in your discard pile, Ditto cannot use it. And Comfy is not attacking, so we have our Entei in the active spot. We just need to use our Delphox to get as many prizes as possible. Our best bet right now is to hit fast because they probably have a Manaphy in their deck. Once they get that Manaphy out, we cannot do the Bench Snipe. So golden rule for this deck is to evolve your Charizard fast, do your first magical fire as early as possible, right before they play the Manaphy, because once they play the Manaphy, you can still do a boss, but we only have that one boss in our deck, and we may not get it at the right time. So always, you know, hit fast. That way you get to draw extra prizes early in the game, and then later on just keep on attacking with your 1 prize cards. If they're playing a 1 prize, just keep on attacking with your Heatmor. You can actually tank damage with your Entei as well. So obviously attack with Entei, Charizard, and Heatmor. Heatmor can still do the Bench Snipe, but if they play Manaphy, it's only doing 90 damage to their active. So I don't think Heatmor is doing enough for a knockout. If they play Manaphy, I don't think we stand a good chance of winning, honestly. But not many decks have Manaphy now. I play this deck a lot on ladder, and not many people play Manaphy. I have no idea why. They just don't bother to add that card into their deck. We don't even have a Manaphy, honestly, just because we actually we need more space for our trainer cards. We don't actually have you know, the luxury to play a Manaphy, just because we need to be getting our rare candies fast enough, playing our Magma Basin at the right time. We need to draw a lot of things for this strategy, for this combo to work. That's why we need our Skyla, rare candy Incense, and the stage 2 is quite difficult to evolve, as we all know. Enough Bruno, Cynthia, enough supporter cards to draw out the rare candy evolution, and also enough Magma Basins. Not to mention enough energies as well, just because we are losing our energies every single turn. So every time you attack with Delphox, you have to lose 1 copy of your fire energy if you have a Charizard in play, because that fire energy actually serves as a double energy. So putting 2 energy into the lost zone means you're only putting 1 fire into the lost zone, just because Charizard's ability provides a double fire. Also, you actually get to play Magma Basin for a Heatmor to do Exciting Flame for 180 extra damage onto their bench, because all we need is 3 energies, helping us, you know, do the extra 3 energy attachment, satisfying the extra 3 energy attack cost. So we actually essentially have 6 energy attached to Heatmor if we have 3 fire on it, because 3 fire equals 6 fire. And here comes Delphox doing our first strike against the Cramorant. So I think we should be killing the Comfy, just because that is their draw engine. And Articuno isn't doing anything if they don't have any more Cramorants, and Cramorant isn't really hitting for the weakness. So we don't really need to worry about Cramorant, because their attack's damage is not affected by weakness. It would be a bit too broken if it is affected by weakness, because all they need is 4 cards in the lost zone. So you can actually attack with that very early in the game. And 110 damage is not bad with Choice Belt and Articuno. We initially tried Moltres for this deck. Moltres to add a bit more damage for Magical Fire, and also Entei. Exciting Flame gets to do 100 plus damage in the active as well, on our opponent's active, if we have a few Moltres in play. So I initially tried 2 copies of Moltres and then eventually reduced it to 1. And now we actually have 0 copies of Moltres, playing more supporters instead, just because it is that important to draw your evolution. If you can't play your Charizard, if you don't do your rare candy evolution you know, fast enough, if you can't do it on your second turn, sometimes it's as good as losing the game, because Arceus V-Star, you know, there are a lot of decks that play shady dealings, and those decks are super fast. You cannot afford, even those lost decks like Comfy, they are very fast, and you cannot afford to pass a single turn. You cannot afford to wait another turn to do your Charizard evolution, just because if you put too many cards in your lost zone, if you lost too many energies, and also if you attach way too many early in the game onto the Delphox, they may just knock it out, and you may be left with no more energies on your next turn. So always evolve your Charizard as early as you can. And you know, 3 energies is a lot. That means you may not be able to attack on your second turn if you don't get a Magma Basin, if you don't have enough energies to discard. So we actually added enough energies for the discard for Greninja. If you get a Greninja, you're gonna have a high chance of winning for this deck, just because, also if they don't play a Manaphy, just because Greninja is helping you draw a lot of cards every single turn. If they play Path to the Peak, we have our Magma Basin to displace that stadium, and we also get to play our supporter cards to draw even more. We got Zinnia, Schoolgirl, Cynthia, Bruno, a lot of different supporter cards, but those supporter actually helps us draw into our hand. Bruno actually shuffles your deck, but it's a bit different from Marnie. We have 2 research now, And Marnie actually puts your rare candy, if you already have it in your hand, it puts it at the bottom of your deck. That means you're more likely not to be able to play your stage 2 evolution after playing the Marnie or before, just because it is that terrible. So if you're playing a stage 2, Marnie is not a good card. Make sure you play enough Zinnias, maybe a Kamado. I tried Kamado just because it is quite a powerful draw. It helps you draw 4 cards into your hand. Keep 1 card. If you have a rare candy, you can keep it in your hand. And then maybe do an incense for the Charizard. But I tried it and it doesn't actually work. So I eventually just replaced the Kamado for another research. Added a Rod into the deck just for the speed draw. And also put in a Skylar, replace the Moltres for a Skylar, just because Skylar can help you do either the rare candy evolution on your second turn much faster. I tried it. I tried it without the Skylar and with the Skylar. Skylar is the perfect match. If you don't have a Skylar, it's always better to play a stage 1 for this deck, and they just conceded because they passed a turn not doing a knockout. So we drew, I think, 3 prizes already, and they only drew 2 prizes. So they cannot actually afford to pass a turn because they need to keep on attacking for the extra prize. I don't think they're playing Bayonet. No Bayonet means they can't actually retrieve the boss's order. And if they lost the boss order, they can't actually target our V Pokemons anymore. We are attacking with Charizard as well. We can actually attack with our 1 prize attackers. If they put a Comfy, if we get our boss's order or escape rope, we can actually target a Comfy with our Exciting Flame Heatmor, doing 90 damage for a knockout. So if you get Kamado, it's not really that powerful. Skyla is actually better because it not only gets you your rare candy, it can help you search for your tool card, it can help you search for your Magma Basin, it can also help you get your escape rope. So escape rope is actually quite powerful for the deck just because we are gusting our opponent's active. That means we actually get to hit their active on the bench with our Telescopic Sight. So having a Telescopic Sight means we actually get to target the V card on the bench. If they evolve into a V-Star, we get to hit 150 after doing 120 damage. So if they are playing 270 HP V-Stars like Decidueye or Samurott, we actually get to kill those Pokemon with 2 strikes using Magical Fire. Obviously, they may just play a VMAX or, 280 HP like a Palkia V-Star or Dialga or even Arceus. For that case, we actually need a little bit more damage, like maybe a Choice Belt for our first strike and then a Telescopic Sight for our next on the same Delphox, or maybe a Choice Belt on our Charizard to do a VMAX knockout. So Charizard can still do 170 damage, but make sure you attack with it at the last minute, just because if you pass the turn doing damage with that Pokemon, you are basically leaving it vulnerable on the next turn. You actually need your switch card on the next turn as well, just because it has 3 energy retreat costs, and it's gonna be left with no energies after using the attack. You are forced to discard everything after attacking with Flare Blitz. That means you're left with no energies. And then you're stuck in the active, you can't do anything unless you get your switch card. And we only have 2 escape rope, 1 switch and 1 bird keeper for this deck, so make sure you are aware of that. Make sure you're careful only to play your Charizard at the last, very last minute. We also have our Entei helping us do a VMAX knockout after the Magical Fire. Obviously attack with your Entei first if you can, just because if they are playing a VMAX, always attack with your Burning Rondo as fast as possible. If they haven't benched that many Pokemon, then don't put your Entei into play if you can. If you have it as your first active, then I'm sorry, you're basically fucked. But if you have it still inside your deck or in your hand, don't bench it, because if you bench it at the last minute, you can quite easily do an escape rope boss or a bird keeper switch, and then Burning Rondo for a VMAX knockout, because it can do 200 plus damage after the Magical Fire, which is enough. We even have a Choice Belt for either our Entei, Delphox, or even Heatmor and Charizard. So obviously Heatmor is only doing 90 damage to the active. It may be better to do Choice Belt on the Heatmor just because it's already doing 180 with Exciting Flame on the bench. So we may not need that much damage on the bench. 210 is unnecessary unless if they're playing, a basic V with 210 HP. Then we get to kill the basic with a Telescopic Sight and then do extra 90 damage on the active, collecting the knockout with maybe a Charizard on the next turn. If they play something like a Galarian Rapidash V, something like a V card that cannot evolve, a Blissey, something like that. Well, Blissey is healing damage, so I don't think we stand a good chance against Blissey. There's always something you can do though. We can actually gust them and then hit them on the bench. And if they heal, they can actually do enough damage with Blissey, so there is always that factor. They need to buy a lot of times before they can do a knockout. Because Hyper Potion and Suspicious Foot Tin actually requires you to discard energy from your Pokemon. If you play Aurora Energy, you get to play the Suspicious Foot Tin. Here comes Decidueye. They're actually playing a Flying Pikachu. So Pikachu actually gets to prevent all damage done to it by basic Pokemon. We are playing basic attackers here. We have Delphox, Entei, and Heatmor, all basic except for Charizard. So if we hit it on the bench, we can actually get through that effect. So all we need is either an escape rope to target the active or just hit the bench Pikachu VMAX for extra 3 prize. If they evolve the second VMAX, we can actually hit that. We can actually hit the second Pikachu. If they don't evolve the second one and play the first one, we actually have Telescopic Sight already on both our snipers. So all we need is to snipe the Pikachu on the bench. 210 HP is enough to kill the V card, the basic. So if they don't evolve, they actually need to sacrifice 2 prizes with our Exciting Flame. Okay, we're gonna Magma Basin onto our Heatmor, slowly charging it up until it has enough energies to attack. We actually are a bit late for this game. We didn't get our Rare Candy as early as we like. And let's just do Magical Fire. Putting 2 energy into the Lost Zone is not great, but I don't think we have a choice. I think it's always better to just hit extra as early as you can. And we actually get to do 150 on the Pikachu VMAX since we have a Telescopic Sight already. And they could quite easily just knock out our Delphox this turn. So that's why it's always better to just hit as much as you can while it is still alive, because it can quite easily just get knocked out right now. So make full use of your attacks and Pokemons. Don't waste your energies. They played 2 Marnie, which is pretty annoying. So Marnie is really disastrous. It can either destroy your opponent's hand or it can just destroy your hand. So this deck is Marnie proof. It's actually Marnie resistant now. When I first played it, it wasn't. And the reason being that not many players play a lot of Marnie when I first built this deck. And then somehow, for some reason, people started adding a lot of Marnies in their deck. And now I have a lot of supporter cards, a lot of power draws like Bruno, Cynthia, and Research to help us save ourselves from that Marnie. We even have Radiant Greninja as well, obviously. But Greninja is not helping you if they play a path. If you don't get your stadium card, they play a path to the peak. Greninja is basically stuck on the bench and it doesn't have you draw cards. So I think they don't have enough for the knockout. Apparently Marnie screwed them over. There we go. They didn't even attack. That was just weird. They did not even attack. What is happening? They could have done 160 base and, you know, just pass the turn, at least having damage counters on our Delphox. But they just did nothing. I think they were taking too long to decide what to do. So let's just play Escape Rope right now, and I don't know what to do honestly, but I think we should be emptying our hand and then playing the Bruno right now, because if we Escape Rope, they can't actually attack without playing a switch. Pikachu has free retreat though. I forgot about Pikachu. It actually has free retreat, but all we need is 1 energy on the Entei. We are drawing card with Entei as well, or getting our Rare Candy evolution with the Fleetfoot. We may actually be able to attack right now. No, no Rare Candy, that's fine. So we're just gonna discard our Incense and play the Bruno this turn. I don't think they can kill the Entei that easily. They need 3 energies on to discard from their hand. Well, they just need 2, my bad, because we actually have 2 damage counters already. So Magma Basin is reducing your fire Pokemon's HP by 20, just because it requires, you know, if you're attaching energy to that Pokemon, you need to place 2 damage counters on it. So we killed the Bidoof, which is actually still a plus, because that actually is their only draw engine, and they got nothing but 3 cards in their hand. It is actually looking pretty bad for them. I don't think they have a supporter card in their hand. I think they are panicking right now. So all we need to do is hit the Pikachu on the bench, and then kill the V-Star with something like a Heatmor. I don't think we can kill the active with a Heatmor though. because 90 damage is basically not enough. Heatmor is doing very low damage to the active. They got the Lumineon, so probably gonna play a Research or another Marnie. Surprise, surprise, another Marnie. So we have 2 energies in the Lost Zone, which is pretty cool. We can actually choose to play Lost cards for this deck, like Mirage Gate and, you know, Comfy, but we chose not to because Delphox is actually quite difficult on its own to make it work. The attack is much more difficult than usual. And if you play Mirage Gate for Delphox, I don't think you can afford to play Charizard because Charizard needs a lot of support. You need a lot of ways to draw your rare candy. You need enough supporter cards. You need enough of trainers to help you evolve into a stage 2, and it's not that easy. Sometimes even if you have everything in your deck, sometimes you may not be able to do it on your 2nd turn or even your 3rd turn. You may have to wait until your 4th or 5th, or even your 5th, my bad. VSTAR knocked out. We killed the Decidueye with our Entei, and now we just need to deal with the Pikachu VMAX. If they play a Cheryl though, they can't play a Sharon to cure the VMAX on the bench, but they can quite easily just do a Cheryl. So they did a Raihan instead, searching for a double turbo. All we need to do is Basin on the Heatmor, retreat, and kill off the Pikachu on the bench. So we cannot actually play the Escape Rope unless if we have a boss. We actually need to retreat, and since Delphox only has 2 energy retreat costs, we can use Delphox to retreat right now. We actually got the boss right now. We got a boss in our hand, so it doesn't really matter. But let's not play anything, because if we play the Escape Rope, they're gonna put the other Pikachu in the active, and we can't actually kill it with our Exciting Flame anymore. So make sure you're aware of that. Kill it on the bench always, and don't play an Escape Rope if it's already on the bench. So we knocked out the Pikachu VMAX for 3 final prizes, and we won the game against Arceus with Decidueye. I'm not sure if they're playing a Crobat, so Decidueye actually hits for the weakness against, you know, Mirror Arceus matches. You actually get to kill Arceus if they don't play Dunsparce. Pikachu gets to kill Pikachu. Pikachu gets to also, you know, prevent all damage done by basics. So Lunatone, Solrock, Clefairy. We have Clefairy now for Lost Origin. They actually don't work against Pikachu. There's nothing you can do against those Pokemons. All you can do is maybe boss something else. Boss the Arceus to kill it on the bench. If they do not bench anything, if they choose not to bench enough prizes for you to draw, if they choose to bench like only 1 Arceus and 1 Pikachu, then you're forced to kill the Pikachu, and you can't actually win the game because you're playing a full basic deck. So Pikachu is powerful for that scenario, I suppose. Right now we're up against a 1-prize Villain Stars Lucario deck with the Roaring Resolve ability. Bibarel and Mew helps them draw. I think they have a Menifee as well, but they actually benched it late again. So thank God for that. If they play the Menifee early for a 1-prize deck, I don't think we stand a good chance at winning, unless if they are not doing a knockout. If they probably are gonna do enough damage to kill a basic V Pokemon, but not enough, you know, not quite enough to kill a V-Star. If they can kill a V-Star with a 1-prize card in 1 shot, in 1 hit, that would be quite impressive. Because Vespi Queen can't even do it, Regidrago can't do it. You need stuff like Zigzagoon. You need a lot of supports. You need supporting abilities, Flapple, something to place extra damage counters, including the Choice Belt. Sometimes Choice Belt is not even enough. If you're playing a stage 2, I think it's possible to kill a V-Star with 1 hit. But what I'm trying to say is that for a basic V card, it's very easy to kill with 1 shot. They just need to play a Raihan. They just need to play Energy Switch. Raihan for the Energy Switch, Roaring Resolve attached from the hand, and they actually got 4 energies to do 240 damage, knocking out either the Delphox or even our Entei with 1 hit. And then they can boss the Crobat, draw another 2 prize, win the game with nothing but Aura Sphere. And they can actually play Grant, because we have Astro Radiant supporter now. They're playing Bibarel for the draw support, so they can choose to play Grant for extra 30 damage against our V card. Choice Belt with Grant means they actually need only 3 energies to kill the Entei. If we play Magma Basin, they just need 2. Well, my bad. They still need 3, right? Because it's only 30 extra damage. They need 3 without the Grant. They don't need to play the Grant against the Delphox. They just need to play the Choice Belt. Entei is just a little bit more difficult for them to knock out. We got Moltres for this deck, helping us do 10 more damage to the active. So Delphox is doing 130, killing off Greninja, Regidrago, Regigigas, stuff like that. But it's not doing enough damage on the bench to kill a Regigigas deck. So if they play a Regigigas, I don't think we stand a good chance, because we're only hitting 120 every single turn. We still need like 2 hits. We still need 2 hits to draw 2 prize in 2 turns. So that's basically 1 prize at a time. It's still the same thing. Unless if we play a Sableye. If we play a Sableye, it would be a bit different. We can actually target like 4 Pokemons. And then, you know, the 5th strike would actually be... We can hit 4 times. Sorry, my bad. We can hit 3 times. And then do, you know, Lost Mine to collect all the 6 prizes in one shot. But they're probably going to play Scoop on that, and we actually need to do boss a lot of times, because we can't actually choose which Pokemon to damage. We have to damage the active. We only get to choose 1 bench. It's kind of different from Gale Thrust. Gale Thrust actually, not Gale Thrust, GMX Rapid-Flow. Rapid-Flow allows you to search, choose any 2 of your opponent's Pokemon and then damage it with 120. So Rapid-Flow is much more flexible, it's much more versatile in that sense. Is definitely much better than your Magical Fire. But you have to discard all energies. For Magical Fire, you have to put 2 energy in the Lost Zone, which is a bit less, you know, a bit less of a, you know, less heavy, I would say, because you got your Charizard to support. All you need is 2 energies on it, and to keep on losting 1 fire is not too bad. Urshifu has its own support as well, I guess. Gutsy Pickaxe, Bay, you can play Colossal to reattach from the discard pile. But it is a VMAX, that means you actually need to evolve a lot of support Pokemons in addition to your VMAX attacker. So I don't think you get to play that many Pokemons for VMAX. Urshifu used to be so broken though. They had so many combos for Urshifu. I remember people playing Moltres with Energy Switch and Melanie. It's just pretty annoying, you know. Energy Switch. All they need is to do Octillery for the Rapid Strike energy, and then, you know, Dire Flame Wings Energy Switch, and they got 3 energies on the Urshifu to do Rapid Flow every single turn. That's crazy, isn't it? And then Evolving Skies started coming out, and then people tried Raihan with Urshifu, and then after that, I don't know what else they tried, but eventually Brilliant Stars came out, and then Menifee completely shuts down Urshifu. Now there's no more Rapid Urshifu in Standard. People who play that card is basically getting screwed over most times, unless if our opponent has no Menifees. Right now though, it's actually okay for people to play Urshifu because I don't see a lot of Menifees. I've been playing this deck for like 2 days now, two full days, and I don't meet a lot of Menifee decks. I would say about 80% of the games that I played, no one did the Menifee. 80%, that's a lot. And for those that do, most times they just bench it a bit too late. As you can see right now, they did the Menifee too late, and we drew our first 2 prize with Magical Fire already. Now all we need to do is be consistent and draw prize 1 at a time, denying them from the 2 prize draw. So obviously, if they can kill the Entei right now, they actually stand a very good chance at winning the game. But I don't think they have the necessary combos. If they play a Raihan though, they need the energy switch. If they don't play a Raihan, they play a Gren instead, is still not enough. So Raihan and Gren are both supporters. You cannot actually choose. It's better to play a Raihan, obviously, just because it's 60 extra damage as opposed to Grant. So they're doing 210 damage, and all we need is 1 energy thanks to Charizard. That's why we don't need the Basin for Entei. And we actually got Moltres on the bench ready to attack. So the final upgrade has no Moltres. This is actually one of the first build, one of the very first version of this deck. And Moltres actually helps out quite, you know, sometimes it does help us do a knockout. Like against Radiant Pokemons. Radiant Pokemon has a little bit more HP against Snorlax as well. If they play 130 HP Pokemons, we can actually kill the active while damaging their Bench V-Star or something on the bench with our Magical Fire Delphox. And then on the next turn, collect the V knockout with our Entei or even Heatmor, Charizard, you know, our other attackers. 170 damage for Flare Blitz is not bad, because all you need is Magical Fire and then Choice Belt with your Charizard. You can kill off a VMAX with 1 hit, with 2 hits, my bad. Or you just need to attach your Telescopic Sight to your Delphox first, and then Flare Blitz without the Choice Belt. Okay, they did not do the knockout, as you can see. No Raihan, no energy switch. Thank God. They only got 2 Lucarios, so even if they did the energy switch, I don't think it would be enough. Nope. They're doing 220 damage though. For some reason, they actually did 10 more damage. I don't know how. Right? Because if they have 3 energies, I don't know why it's 160. Oh, they got 10 base damage, my bad. They actually got 10 base damage. So 130 plus 30, and if they have 3 energies, they're doing 180 plus 30 plus 10 more. So that's 220 damage. It's still not enough to kill the Entei. They actually need 4 solid energies. So now we're gonna do the Bird Keeper and force them to play a double boss. Now they actually need to play double boss to kill for the final 4 prize, because if they don't play the boss twice in a row, then they're gonna need 3 more strikes to win the game. And same goes for on our end, but we actually stroke first. We did our first strike, drawing the first of the last 3 prize, and all they need is 2 bosses to win the game, but I don't think they have that many bosses anymore. They may have discarded 1 or 2 copies, or played one already. I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. But they could quite easily just do it. Crobat is weak towards fighting, so they don't need a lot of energies to kill off the Crobat. It's only 180 HP as well. So Crobat is definitely gonna die with 1 strike. But if they just kill with 1 boss, we would essentially have enough to knock them out. We got 2 Charizards ready to go. We just need to Flare Blitz and then Flare Blitz again with the Escape Rope, killing off anything with 2 hits. My bad, drawing the last 2 prize with 2 hits. Burn Brightly. That ability is so cool. We used to have a Gardevoir with kind of the same ability, helping you transform a basic psychic into a double psychic. Basic psychic energy into double psychic. There isn't many fire basic Pokemons that are good though. It's quite difficult to search for like good fire Pokemons to use. You can actually choose to play colorless for your Charizard, because you can actually fill up those colorless energy costs with a double fire. Important to note that the ability only works for basic energy. So if you have, for example, a heat energy or an aurora attached to your Pokemon, they only act as one fire. They don't serve as double fire because the ability only works for basic energy. Make sure you're aware of that. That's why we eventually decided not to play any heat energy. Now we have 0 copies of heat energy in this deck. Initially, we actually have 1 or 2 copies, quite a few actually, to help us tank enough damage for Delphox to survive, because we are doing Magma Basin as well. So if we do Basin on the Delphox, they just need 190 damage to kill off the V Pokemon for 2 prize, which is terrible. For a V Pokemon to have that low HP is just really bad. Entei is still okay. It has 330, can still tank, and all we need is 1 energy. Remember, Burning Rondo doesn't require that much. If you attach your capture though, you're forced to attach another fire just because we need 2 fire, right? We need either 1 fire and a colorless, or just like 1 fire with a Charizard. And here comes the final Lucario. They finally play the Manaphy, but they're not going to give us that. They're going to attack with the Lucario, and all we need to do is Flare Blitz for the win. Are they able to get the boss this turn? If they got the boss, they win. It's a done deal. If they don't, they're done. Do you have a boss? Nope. Oh, we won the game. We won against a 1 prize Lucario with Manaphy. They got Mew from Celebrations as well, helping them search for item cards. They got to search for the Choice Belt, I guess. I don't think they're playing that many items though. They could do Gutsy Pickaxe for Lucario, but they would need something like a Switching Cups or Oranguru to help them put the energy, extra copies of basic energy from their hand at the top deck, so they get to, guarantee that extra fighting energy attachment. Maybe play a training card for that as well. So that would be a whole different story. It would be actually a bit better because you get to do at least 180 damage, 190 damage, my bad, or even more with Choice Belt for each Lucario that you play. If you do obviously it would be more if you do a Raihan energy switch. I suppose the bad thing about Gutsy is that it only allows you to attach to your bench Pokemon, so you may need to play a bit more switch cards like Air Balloon if you do Gutsy Pickaxe, if you want to be attacking with the bench, because you're more likely to be able to do more damage this turn. And if you pass a turn doing a Gutsy onto your bench, your opponent can quite likely just do a boss. But if they do a boss though, you would have, well, you actually have to discard everything, don't you? You have to discard all energies from your active Lucario, so if they boss your bench, you won't have enough energies to attack on the next turn to do as much damage as you would like. We got our VIP pass on the first turn, which is great. We need the Greninja like mad. I think we already have it in play. There we go. So we're gonna search for either a Heatmor or an Entei, just to reduce the cards from our deck. They may quite easily play an Avery. If they do an Avery, we may have to discard something. Let's just play both, because we have another Charmander. Let's just discard the Charmander if they play an Avery. If they kill the active though, I don't think we have a choice. So let's just play our Entei right now. I think it would be better if we do a switch and then draw with Fleet Foot on this turn. I really want to be drawing another energy. So let's fingers crossed hope we get an energy with Fleet Foot. If we get the Fleet Foot, if we get it, we may be able to attach another one to Delphox this turn. But we got another VIP, unfortunately. Oh well. It was a long shot anyways. So now we are basically stuck with nothing in our hand. We got no supporter cards, no energies to draw. All we need is 1 energy to kill off the Crobat though, if they don't switch. Because Burning Rondo is doing a lot of damage. They are playing a Darkrai V-Star, so they are more likely to bench a lot of Pokemons like Multiprize V, even the baby Multiprize as well. If they bench enough cards, we can actually kill off the Crobat for our first 2 prize, and then worry about Delphox later. because drawing cards from the prize may actually help us on the next turn to draw, may actually help us get our supporter cards or even energy for concealed cards, Greninja to draw cards. If they do a path, Greninja is not working, Fleet Foot cannot be used, so Path to the Peak is going to completely destroy this deck because we are relying on Crobat's Dark Asset, Entei V's ability, and also our Radiant Rollbox ability. 3 Stadium is actually not enough. I would prefer to have 4 copies, but I think 1 Skyla is okay. If we play 1 Skyla with 3 Stadium, I don't think it's too bad. The main issue is probably Path to the Peak. If they play that card, we would be stuck in terms of draw support. But if we have everything in play already, we just need to keep on attaching 1 energy to our Delphox to do Magical Fire turn after turn. If they knock out our Delphox, we just need to attach enough onto the bench to do maybe Exciting Flames on the next turn, or even Burning Rondo, Flare Blitz. So we're gonna draw with Schoolgirl after the ability, and we got 2 energies. We gambled though, we actually gambled, but we have a lot of supporter cards. We should be getting something, right, with the Greninja, so that's why we did it, because we were confident that we would get something. And right now we're not able to switch. That means we can't attack with Entei. We can actually do the retreat though. Are we gonna retreat and attack this turn? Can we kill off the Crobat? We can actually knock out the Crobat right now, so we should be retreating, but we actually chose to do Eerie Glow, which is quite stupid. I did not realize that we could have done the Crobat knockout with the Entei. I don't know why we did that. We would have wasted 1 energy on the Delphox though, but I don't think they can kill our active on the next turn. I suppose that's the reason we did the Delphox, because we want to be showcasing Magical Fire every single turn. If we attack with Entei, it would basically defeat the purpose of this deck, because we cannot actually retreat on the next turn that easily. We got 3 energy retreat costs for Entei, and that means we're forced to play Burning Rondo until it gets knocked out. And our opponent may not be able to kill our Entei that easily, that early, so might as well just play Delphox to spice up this game, because our opponent is being very slow right now. I don't know what's happening to the Darkrai V-Star. They should be getting their Dark Patch, Research, Tracking Shoes. They don't have enough energies to do a knockout. Moltres is a bit too late. They benched it way too late, and now they got only 2 energies in play. Not even enough in the discard pile, I don't think. Okay, are they gonna play a Marnie? What are they gonna do? You could actually think about getting a Pierre's for your Crobat. Maybe evolve the Crobat if you want to avoid a knockout. Crobat VMAX only has 300 HP though, so if they do a double boss on the same Crobat, they're drawing 3 prize easy, and if they can hit enough damage like a Torterra can actually hit 300, up to 300, max damage. If they can hit that high, they can actually boss the Crobat VMAX and draw 3 extra prize, because it actually has probably the lowest HP for a VMAX Pokemon. Okay, we're gonna do a Zinnia. I think we played our supporter card, my bad. We did our Bird Keeper probably, and now we're gonna do Burning Rondo. I thought we were gonna do our Magical Fire, but for some reason we did the Bird Keeper. We could have done the Crobat knockout on our last turn. I don't know why we didn't do that. I guess we weren't aware that we could retreat with the active. Because the double energy can actually serve for the retreat cost. 1 fire for 2 energy retreat, and then Burning Rondo for a Crobat knockout. That would help us speed up the game so much more, because we draw the first 2 prize. Our opponent could quite likely concede though and end the game right there. So now they actually stand a chance of killing the Entei V, because they can quite easily do a 1 prize Moltres with a Research or something like that, Training Court Research, and then Dire Flame Wings, Dark Patch. They haven't played their V-Star attack, V-Star ability, my bad, to search for the Dark Patch. So the Dark Patch in the discard pile is 1 copy. I don't know why it's showing 3. I think that's a glitch. It's actually showing 3 as you saw just now. But they actually played only 1 copy. And now they searched for 2 Dark Patch. So that was that was definitely a glitch right there. If you guys noticed just now, it was showing 3 copies in the discard pile. I don't know why. A big fat ugly glitch. Okay, here comes Dark Pulse doing 1 billion damage, and they did the boss on the Charizard. Oh my god. Oh my god. Now we need to get our rare candy, our second rare candy. We got 4 copies though, and they did not do a Marnie. Boss means they cannot play a Marnie, and we actually got Zinnia to draw the rare candy out. Marnie is not gonna help us. We have to play the Zinnia, no Marnie. So that's why I say selecting the right supporter cards is very important depending on what deck you're playing. If you have a stage 2, make sure you play, you know, a draw support, a proper draw support like Bruno, Cynthia, Kamado, you know, Schoolgirl, something that helps you draw enough cards in your hand instead of shuffling cards back or putting cards at the bottom. You want to be drawing, you know, specific cards out, or even a Peony. Sometimes if you can't afford to discard from your hand, if you want to be discarding cards to help you satisfy conditions on your Pokemon's effects or attacks, you can actually play Peony not only to help you do the rare candy evolution, but also to help you do more damage with your attacks or boost your, you know, to help you satisfy some conditions. I think we didn't get the rare candy, unfortunately, so we're forced to attach 1 more onto the Delphox. If we get the rare candy with our Greninja though, we can save our energy on the Delphox, or we would probably get a basic energy. We actually got both though. We got the rare candy and an energy. So Delphox needs 2 fire and 1 colorless. That means if we attach the capture, we can still do it without the Charizard. Yeah, we got enough inside our deck. That's why we did it. That's why we use Greninja's ability. Because all we need is either the Charizard Incense either the rare candy, which we have 3 copies still inside the deck, or 1 energy to attach onto the Delphox. Because we must be doing, we have to do our Magical Fire this turn if we want to win the game. And then all we need to do is snipe even more damage. If they don't play a Manaphy, we can snipe, knock out the Darkrai on the bench. If they attack with the active, we just need to hit the active because we have a choice belt. That means we just need 120 on the Darkrai to kill it off. The bench is going to be a bit more difficult though. So the bench Darkrai V-Star, if they evolve it on the next turn, has a bit more HP, but it's actually 270 only. That means we just need our Telescopic Sight to kill off the second Darkrai. So now we just need to play our Heatmor, either a boss to knock it out with Burning Rondo or Exciting Flames to kill it on the bench, which is much more exciting. So let's just do our Bench Snipe. That is the main theme of this deck after all. Let's do Magical Fire for the knockout and then win the game with our Heatmor. That would be so cool. 180 on the bench is a lot. We can kill a Crobat on its own without a Telescopic Sight. That's insane, isn't it? So it's doing a total of 270 damage for 6 energies. If you have 6 energies attached to your Heatmor, you can do 270 damage for that basic Pokemon's attack, which is it's quite heavy, isn't it? 6 energy is quite heavy, but it is a lot of damage. So spread damage at that. I'm loving that card honestly, but it is a Fusion Strike, quite an old card. And we have Charizard now, so we can actually do Magma Basin, slowly charge it up on the bench until we have enough to kill it, until we have enough to attack with it. If they boss and knock it out, we can attack with our Delphox more times. So it's basically the same thing. We can do Magical Fire a bit more times, but Heatmor is doing a little bit more damage though onto the bench. And Total is actually doing a bit more in total as well. So I would prefer to have Heatmor attacking early than our Delphox, but just because it needs so much energy, we may not be able to do that. And our opponent is quite likely to boss and knock out the Heatmor, but it's only one prize though. If they do that, they're only getting one prize, and that means they are delayed by one more turn. If they kill 3 V cards in a row, if they kill the Delphox V, boss an Entei, and then boss another Crobat, they win the game. So it may be better for them to keep the bosses for the V cards. And if they do that, we can play our Heatmor to snipe their bench for 180 extra damage and basically win the game with extra snipes. So whatever our opponent does, we have a counter and an advantage to this combo, which is pretty cool. We get to play our own strategy, which is pretty solid. If our opponent doesn't play a Manaphy, if they don't bench the Manaphy early, this deck is actually pretty powerful. It's actually enough for you to win against a one prize if they play, even if they do a Manaphy. But if they do a VMAX, I don't think we stand a good chance. A VMAX with a Manaphy, I don't think we stand a chance at all, honestly. We may be able to get the boss early to deal with the Manaphy before we hit with our Delphox. Maybe Burning Rondo for the Manaphy knockout. And then Magical Fire later on. Exciting Flame for the final kill. That would be pretty epic. If they don't do a Manaphy, we can actually play Magical Fire and then Flare Blitz or even Magical Fire Burning Rondo. Magical Fire Escape Rope with your Exciting Flame. If you do Escape Rope on the next turn, you can play Exciting Flame to kill their active VMAX with 180 damage on the bench, plus 30 more with your Telescopic Sight. You actually need Telescopic Sight or maybe a Moltres Choice Belt on your last turn to do extra damage. That's why Moltres is here in our first version on the early build, because we actually need extra, like maybe 10 more damage to kill the V-Star. If we have a Moltres on our bench, we can do 130 damage with Magical Fire for our first hit. And then after that, we just need to Escape Rope, Telescopic Sight, Magical Fire again to kill off the V-Star on the bench with 280 HP and Arceus. If they play Arceus though, they could do a Sharon to remove the damage counters. So we are playing a 2-hit KO deck. That means Sharon is actually quite terrible. If they do a Sharon enough times, our opponents stand a good chance at winning against us because we are slowly killing them off, bit by bit with spread damage. And that means we cannot rely on them healing. We cannot afford for our opponent to heal any damage on their Pokemon or even scoop them up with either, the net or the Sharon. Okay, right now we're up against a Zoroark box with Cleaver from Astro Radiance, flipping the coin for a free knockout, for a auto knockout. If they get 2 heads with the Glimwood Tangle, they get a full on a direct knockout, I would say, because it doesn't matter how many HP you have. It doesn't matter if you're playing a Gudra V-Star. As long as they play a Cleaver and get 2 heads, they get to kill anything in your active spot. Anything is dead, unless if you have a Wash Energy or a Big Parasol. Those cards are actually pretty powerful. Or even the new Snorlax. The new Snorlax from Lost Origin has an Unfazed Fat, I think it's called Unfazed Fat ability that allows you to prevent all effects of attacks done by our opponent's Pokemon to this Snorlax. That means you get to deny them from playing, Shedinja, Raticate to place damage counters, or even Cleaver for the direct knockout. Pretty cool card. 180 damage for 3 colorless energy is quite powerful as well. I've seen people play Mirage Gate with that Pokemon. It's pretty insane. A basic 1 prize for 180 damage is kind of unheard of for standard. for Pokemon ever, I would say. 180 damage for 3 energies. But you actually have to, you know, sleep this Pokemon. This Pokemon goes to sleep after using this attack. And then you actually have to flip 2 coins every single turn. If you get 1 Tails, all it takes is 1 Tails for you to go back to sleep with your Snorlax. So that attack is quite, you know, costly. Because you actually have to go to sleep every single turn. But, you know, you can quite easily do a switch, Bird Keeper, Scoop Up Net to remove those special condition. Or you can even play your Virizion, right? There's the Virizion V from Billion Stars, I think, or Astro Radiance. Pretty sure it's Astro Radiance. That actually cure all of your Pokemon in play that has a Grass Energy attached to it from special conditions. So if you do Mirage Gate with Grass Energy onto your Snorlax, with the Virizion, you can actually recover from the Grass Energy, which is pretty cool. Recover from this Sleep condition with your Grass Energy, my bad. Okay, we got our VIP pass on the first turn, which is great. Let's just get another Charmander, set up our Stage 2 early. We're up against an Arceus Inteleon deck. I think they are playing Arceus Bibarel, my bad. And they actually did a Sharon for this game. So it is pretty, it's quite intense, this game. Starbirth for any card. You can search for a boss's order. I think that's probably the biggest threat. The biggest threat is that they can search for the double turbo and a boss. That means on their second turn going first, well, it doesn't matter if they're going first or second. On their second turn, they can just kill anything, right? They can kill anything on the bench. If you play like Sobbles or Crobat or anything that has less than 200 HP, they don't even need a Choice Belt. If they have a Choice Belt in their hand already, they can search for the boss and the double turbo. If they have the double turbo already attached, they can search for the Choice Belt and the boss. And if you have like only 210 HP on your V card, they can boss anything to kill it off with their first attack. That's crazy. It can't actually do a one-hit knockout though against a VMAX, so it's not doing an OHKO against V-Stars as well. Impossible. But you get to attach extra energies onto your bench Pokemon. You get to maybe play more Arceus for the Sharon loop, or even like a basic V card. I would prefer to play a basic with Arceus. If you play a VMAX like a Duraludon even, you have the extra ability and the extra, you know, pulverization effect, which is pretty cool. You get to get through Ambipom, Miltank, Decidueye, Altaria. But if you play Duraludon though, it is an extra evolution that you need to get. If you don't get to evolve, you know, fast enough, your opponent can quite likely do a boss and deal with the Duraludon before it evolves. If they play Twin Energy attackers like Magikarp Ditto, they can quite easily do a boss to kill off the Duraludon before it evolves, before it ever evolves. Or if you bench only one Arceus and a Duraludon, they can kill off the Duraludon, forcing you to play another one. Because if you bench nothing but the VMAX and the V-Star, you can actually win with its ability, right? If your opponent don't play any path, you can win the game with your Skyscraper. So I think it's always better not to bench that many Pokemons if you're playing a Duraludon VMAX. Because you never know if your opponent is playing any path in their deck. They may have 0 copies. Playing special energies as well. Like Med Party, I don't think they have the space for a path. They would probably play Pokestop or you know, some other stadium card to help them draw more. I don't think there's any other stadium cards to draw cards. My bad. Pokestop is the only one that I can think of that helps you support for Med Party decks. They could do a Raihan, because Twin Energy is kind of you know, is not really it's not essential, but obviously it helps out a lot. But you don't really need it. You just need like 2 energies on your ulti guys, or even you know, Bunnelby to do Ditto as well, to do 20x damage. 20x is quite low though. Clefairy now does only 20x. Lunatone does 30x, which is much better, but it only does 30 for each energy attached to itself. It doesn't do more for energies attached to other Lunatones. Clefairy is a bit different because it does 20x for each energy attached to each psychic energy attached to itself and all other Clefairies in play. That you have in play, my bad. It doesn't count if your opponent has any Clefairies, it doesn't count. Okay, now they did their first Trinity charge and they did 0 damage. They didn't get their VMAX VSTAR, my bad. No VSTAR. They are playing a big barrel, so that means they are a bit late. We did our first Magical Fire. Got the Charizard early, which is great. All we need now is to be consistent, I suppose. If we can kill them with the Entei, we should be doing it. Because they have a lot of bench right now, we can quite easily knock out the V-Star. If they evolve this turn, we can do Burning Rondo for our first kill. If we do a research, we should be retreating and then killing off the Arceus with Entei. But we actually did Magical Fire a second time because we got a bit greedy trying to kill off 2 Arceus at a time. And eventually they did a Sharon to recover all the damage counter from their first Arceus. But we did kill the second one though, we did kill it on the bench. So it's not too bad. 2 hits for 2 prize is not good though. You should be drawing more than 2 prizes if you're doing a spread deck for, 2 turns. 1 prize per turn is not good. We want to be aiming for as much as possible every single turn. If you are doing a 1-hit KO deck, you should have a strategy inside the list that helps you deal against 1 prize deck. If your opponent is doing a 1 prize, you should have a counter strategy to either tank, buy yourself extra turns, deny them from drawing the prize, or help you draw prize a bit faster than your opponent, help you attack much earlier or something like that. I don't know. If you can draw your first prize on your first turn, going second, that would be great against a 1 prize. If you can't, I think you still stand a good chance at winning as long as you can maybe tank damage with your 1 prize heavy Pokemon. We have a lot of cards to tank damage now. We have Machamp, the new Machamp from Lost Origin. Having 300 HP is basically a VMAX now if you have 3 or fewer prize cards remaining. So you actually need to wait until if your opponent, I think. I'm not sure if your opponent or you. Pretty sure your opponent. So if your opponent has drawn 3 or more prize cards, then your Machamp, all of your Machamps in play has, a maximum of 300 HP. All of them has 150 more HP, which is, basically unheard of. The only Pokemon that I can think of with a similar ability is Conkeldurr for the old Conkeldurr from Black and White series, and it actually has it does only 20 extra HP though. It does only 20 boost for each fighting energy attached to your Conkeldurr. You get 20 more HP, kind of the same as your Stunfisk for Sword and Shield. But now we have Machamp, which is a 300 HP Pokemon, which is quite insane. That would be quite interesting to watch, wouldn't it? There's so many new cards out now, I really don't know what to play. I have no idea what to feature, and I really like Delphox though, that's why I'm playing it right now. And it's a new Snipe card that helps you spread a lot of damage for only 2 fire, which is pretty cool. If you get your Rare Candy Evolution fast, all you need is 2 fire energies on your Delphox and then attach 1 every single turn from your hand. You can even do a Basin on your bench. Prepare for your next attacker. So this is kind of insane. We're doing 240 total damage for only 2 energies. Pretty cool. Okay, here comes the Lumineon. We have only 10 HP remaining, so if they play a Zigzagoon, they could have knocked us out already. But fortunately, they did not They don't have a Zigzagoon, I don't think. Or maybe it's Prize and they couldn't get it out. And now we're gonna play our Entei for Burning Rondo. We actually do have enough to kill the Arceus this turn, which is a bit ridiculous. We're only doing 200 damage if we bench another Pokemon, but if we play a Choice Belt, it is actually enough to kill off the active Charizard. So are we gonna play a Research Bruno or a Zinnia? That's gonna be a big question because Zinnia only draws you 5, but I don't think we need to draw that many cards. We have 23 cards left, but only one Choice Belt. If we don't get the Choice Belt and a basic, we cannot actually kill the Arceus V. So I think we should be playing either the Bruno or the Research. But since Bruno is shuffling back cards, I think we should be doing the Research. But we actually got everything, so we got a bit lucky. We got the Greninja draw though. If we don't get enough cards to knock out the Arceus, we can actually draw with our Entei and Greninja as well. So if we got energies instead, we can still do concealed cards for 2 more cards from the top deck, and we would probably get either the Choice Belt or our basic energy. Well, we actually need both. So if we don't get both, it's not enough to kill the Arceus because they haven't yet evolved. I don't think they could have evolved because they benched it late. I'm not too sure though. Okay. So now, they have to play a Melanie or something. If they don't do a Melanie or Raihan, they cannot actually attack. And passing 1 turn not attacking is super bad because we have 2 prize remaining. All we need is 1 more V-Star knockout, and they actually conceded. So we won against Arceus V-Star with Bibarel. Even with a Sharon, they could not survive against Delphox. We won against a Sharon loop deck. Basically a heal deck, right? Because they are recovering all damage counter by putting it back into their hand with the Sharon, and they got Dunsparce to prevent from the fighting weakness as well. So this gal is playing a very fancy deck box and sleeve. Giratina, the new Lost Origin sleeve and deck box, looking very cool. Very fancy. Are we gonna play the Crobat first? Probably. Let's just discard the Choice Belt. I'm quite sure they're playing a 1 prize Comfy deck. If they play like a Hisuian Gudra, we don't stand a chance. Might as well concede. We cannot win against Gudra, guys. Period. Because Delphox is not doing enough damage. If we play damage counter decks, or if we do like high damage attackers, OHKO decks, we stand a good chance at winning against Gudra, because Gudra is only reducing by 80 damage, it's not a lot. If they play Fantina, and if you do a 1 prize deck, Fantina doesn't work. It only works against V cards. So Fantina only reduces damage done to your Pokemon, all of your Pokemon, for 1 turn by your opponent's Pokemon V. So if they attack with a 1 prize, Fantina is reducing 0 damage. Fantina is not doing anything. So they are actually playing a V card. They are playing a Sylveon VMAX with Kecleon. They are doing a lost strategy, a lost deck with Rapid Strike. They got Zeraora as well for the extra snipe. So this is a very interesting deck because they got Mirage Gate for Kecleon to hit for the weakness, to search for the water energy, and they got Mirage Gate for Kecleon to transform into as many types as possible, for Sylveon to hit as much damage with Max Harmony, and they even got Mirage Gate for Cross Fist, helping it do helping you search for lightning and another type of energy to attach to your Zeraora to do a triple energy attachment in a single turn. Obviously you have to attach 1 more from your hand, but all they need is maybe a training card or an energy search for another energy. They can't even play, what's it called again? Not double turbo, what's it called again? Rapid Strike energy to help them attack faster. So that's all. This is a very interesting matchup because I've never seen someone play such an off-meta list. This is very off-meta and very cool. I really love this deck. Rapid Strike with Lost combo. I love it. They got the full Rapid Strike team. Obviously not the full one, but they got a very diverse Rapid Strike team. Kecleon, Zera, and Sylveon, and they're playing all the different rapid strikes, not just like Kecleon. It would be quite boring if they're playing just, you know, Comfy with Kecleon, Mirage Gate with Kecleon. It would be quite strong, but kind of lame, because there's only one rapid strike card. But they are doing all, like, the whole team, which is so cool. Okay, all they need is to lose 7 cards before they are able to play the Mirage Gate, and the Gate is gonna help them do a lot of damage with Max Harmony, but they actually attached 2 basic onto the Sylveon, which is not a good sign, because they need to be attaching the basic energy onto the Kecleon to be able to activate the transformation, because they need to transform into as many types on the bench for them to hit as much damage as possible with Max Harmony. They should be attaching either water or psychic energy from their hand, but I don't think they drew it into if they drew it into their hand, they would probably be attaching it to the Sylveon, because they already have water type and psychic on the bench. So they should be saving the fire, fighting, and metal for Kecleon, and they couldn't even knock out our Charizard, because they got only 4 types, 3 types, my bad. Only 3 types on the bench. So funny thing about Kecleon is that once it transforms, once it does the chroma shift, it doesn't become, it's no longer a colorless Pokemon. It's no longer colorless if you have any basic energy attached to your Kecleon. For example, if you have a metal and a fire on your Kecleon, it is now considered as a metal and a fire type, but no longer a colorless type. So that's the important thing to note, because if you are doing Max Harmony, I know because I played it before. I played Sylveon with Kecleon, with Bay. I know it very well. We actually get to play Fighting Energy onto our Kecleon and then play the Bay to discard our top 5 cards of our deck. Attach any Fighting Energy onto our Pokemon, fighting Pokemon on the bench. That means we get to attach to Kecleon since we have a Fighting Energy attached to it. So we did that deck a few months ago for Brilliant Stars, I think. And it actually worked quite well, but not as well as I would like. It's kind of just, you know, a fun deck to play, not really a powerful deck. But that's when I learned that Kecleon's ability actually shuts down its colorless type. Okay, Max Harmony for the knockout. And they're finally doing 190 damage. So we got the Snipe. All we need to do is kill off the Kecleon on the bench. And that means Max Harmony is not doing as much damage as they would need. Max Harmony is only doing 100 plus damage, right? Without the Kecleon. So that's their secret weapon. We're going to kill off the Kecleon for the damage reduction, essentially. And then helping us survive a bit more, an extra turn with the Delphox for another knockout. We have no choice but to play the Ultra Ball. We should have kept the Ultra Ball though. If we kept the Ultra Ball, we could have done the Rare Candy evolution with our Cynthia, but I don't think we need the Rare Candy just yet. We have enough Rare Candies in the deck. We just need to play Kamado on the next turn. So we have a Kamado for this list. This is one of the earlier version, you know, before we change to the final upgrade. Obviously, Kamado doesn't work that well if you're playing against a meta deck. They are not playing a meta deck, that's why we have a Kamado. Eventually, it doesn't cut it. Eventually, once I was matched up against those Palkia V-Star Shady Dealings deck, I realized that we need another research, we need a Skyla, we need power draws, another Bruno. We need really a big draw for us to counter Shady Dealings, for us to counter Starbirth, Bibarel, because they have a power draw. They get to draw a lot of cards every single turn. We have nothing but 1 Crobat and 1 Greninja. That's why we need so many supporter cards. And if we play too many weak supporters meaning only drawing up to 4 cards, 4 is still very low. I would prefer playing a Zinnia than a Kamado, honestly, because our opponent is more likely to play a lot of bench post-rotation, post Brilliant Stars, I would say. Post Brilliant Stars, you actually need a lot of bench Pokemons, but people play a lot of Avery, though. If they play Avery and Entei, your opponent may not play that many. If they don't bench that many Pokemons, you cannot draw that much with your Zinnia. If you play an Entei, chances are your opponent may not play that many bench Pokemons. That means Zinnia may not draw you that many cards. so I don't know if it's that great to play a Zinnia, but I would say normally for meta decks they play a lot of bench, right? They need a lot of sobbles on the bench. Even if your opponent does Avery them, they can quite easily revive those Pokemons back onto the bench on the next turn. And Avery is only drawing you 3 cards, so I don't think your opponent can afford to draw only 3 cards unless if they are doing, you know, a lot of things with their abilities. If they play Bibarel or Chinchino, they may quite easily play a lot, like full 4 copies of Avery in their deck and then basically destroy your bench every single turn by forcing you to discard 2 Pokemons over and over and over. Okay, we're gonna do Magical Fire for our second strike. Now we just need one more hit. We got a boss in our hand, so we just need one more strike with the Delphox. They're gonna kill our active right now, but on the next turn, if we do Magical Fire with the boss, we can kill for 5 prizes, winning the game by knocking out the VMAX and the Zeraora on the bench. If they do Mirage Gate for Cross Fist though, all they need to do is boss. If they play boss, I don't think they have enough though, because they're only doing 100 damage. If they're only doing 100 damage to their active, to our active, my bad. Oh, they don't need the boss. It's not enough though, they need a Telescopic Sight. So they don't need the boss because our active is already dying. 100 damage is enough to kill off our active right now. They just need a Telescopic Sight because 160 damage on the bench is not enough. Either that or a Scoop Up Net and a Passimian. So here comes the Colrus, drawing them 3 cards from the top 5 and then losing to, if they get a Telescopic Sight, we're done. No Telescopic Sight, I think they attach the energy onto the Sylveon. That means they are not attacking with Cross Fist apparently. No Cross Fist, we're safe. And all we need is that one turn. They actually attack with the second Sylveon VMAX. So we need to be playing our boss to kill off the first one and another V card on the bench for a multi-prize win. That is super delicious. We won with a Delphox V, Magical Fire, doing Occult Inferno on our opponent, you know, hexing our opponent for a witchy win. Delphox. I love the attack though, I love the name, I love Delphox. It's such a interesting card. It's such a wonderful Pokemon. It has the magical Fire Stick, magical wand. And we're gonna have a Serena for the next set. Silver Tempest is gonna have a Serena with its matching Delphox card, the 1 prize Delphox, and also Braixen that allows you to do 60x damage for each Serena in your discard pile. So if you have 4 Serena discarded, which is a supporter card by the way, that allows you to do, gives you the option of either discarding up to 3 cards from your hand and then drawing until you have 5 cards in your hand, or do a boss effect by pulling out a V card from your opponent's bench into the active. So you get to play either one of those effects. If you play it from your hand as a supporter card, if you discard it, if you have enough in your discard pile, it's kind of the same as Leon basically. For each Serena in the discard pile, you're doing 60 damage with your Braixen and Delphox. Braixen, I think, needs 3 colorless energy, whereas Delphox only needs 2 colorless. So 2 colorless means you get to play Magma Basin and then attach 1 from your hand. You get to attack with Braixen or Delphox. I think Delphox needs 1 colorless. My bad. So Delphox needs 1 colorless, but Braixen needs 2 colorless. So you could quite easily attack, you could quite easily play a stage 1 twin energy deck with your Serena, Braixen, and then do 240 damage every single turn, which is quite cool. But you need to discard early. How are you going to discard? You can play like maybe Pokemon Gear, Pokegear, Pokestop, Professor Burnett. Obviously the most obvious combo is Professor Burnett, and then discard, search for your maybe even Luminion and what's it called again, Ultra Ball, to discard your supporter card. And then you can do 180 early, probably 180 damage for your first strike at least. Leon is gonna do a lot more though with your Charizard because you have 100 base damage, but Braixen and Delphox is not doing anything. It's doing 0 damage 0 base damage. That means if you have no Serenas on your discard pile, you are doing no damage at all. You are not doing any damage with that attack without Serenas in your discard pile. So we're going to bench another Charmander to prepare for the Charizard knockout. We're going to play our research and then attach the energy. Oh, okay. We should have discarded the energy though, because I don't think we have any energy in the discard pile. Oh, we did not draw an energy. Surprise, surprise. Okay. I'm pretty sure we already discarded an energy, so let's just do our escape rope. Well, we don't have enough energy to attack with Delphox, unfortunately. So we cannot actually do the escape rope and the magical fire. We have a Charizard, but we don't have enough energy to do magical fire. We need at least 2. Even with Burn Brightly. If we could do it though, they would actually be delayed 1 whole extra turn, even with the Manaphy on the next. So they could quite easily bench a Manaphy at any point in the game. We need to be attacking with Delphox fast, because Manaphy can show up at any point, at any moment. If we hit it on the last turn though, they need to bench another Inkay. They cannot attack for one more full extra turn. They're probably going to do the switch right now, scoop up that switch, and then maybe Karina's Focus or Cynthia for the first knockout, because all they need is 3 Rapid Strike Pokemon, 3 Rapid Strike cards, my bad, to kill off the Heatmor for the first prize. And then Malamar just needs to kill every turn. If they kill the Delphox, they're getting 1 extra prize. If they kill the Entei as well, another extra prize. So I think they stand a good chance at winning this game. But if they don't bench another Inkay, you know, requiring 3 cards to shuffle back is actually quite a lot, because they can't play Cynthia since we have not knocked out any Pokemons on the last turn. Cynthia is only drawing you until you have 5 cards in your hand, and chances are they have a lot of Drizzle still. If they play Drizzle and Incense, they may need to waste those cards. If they play those cards too early, they may not be able to evolve on the next turn. You know, later on in the game, they may get stuck without the Fall Crystal, without, you know, energies in their hand. They may not be able to attack for 1 full turn if they play their Incense and Fall Crystal too early. So they're gonna probably get a Research or a Karina's Focus, and then bash our active. They got the Cynthia. They should be playing Karina as well. I don't know why, because they got Octillery. You can search for Karina with Octillery. There we go. Only 5 cards in their hand. That is quite terrible. They're gonna scoop up the Drizzle now. And then Shady again. I think they played 2 Shady already. My bad. Oh, they did the scoop up then already. They already did the scoop up. And no Inkay on the bench because they don't have enough in their hand to bench a Pokemon if they want to do a knockout. So they chose to collect the first prize early. Hoping against hope that we got no energies on our turn, but we got a Crobat in the deck. We would probably be playing it right now. Let's just discard as much as we can from our hand. Are we gonna play the Schoolgirl? Schoolgirl is only drawing us 2 cards, so let's just discard that supporter. Well, we shouldn't be discarding that supporter. We should be waiting until we can play it. Discarding the Telescopic Sight is much smarter because we don't need the tool card because they're not playing any V Pokemons. So let's just play the Rare Candy and maybe Quick Ball for a Crobat right now, and then do the Escape Rope with the Bird Keeper to attack with Magical Fire, I guess. Kill off the Malamar on the bench. Because if we play the Bird Keeper, we got 3 extra cards. We would probably get an energy from that much draws. Crobat and Bird Keeper. That's like 7 cards, right? 7 cards into our hand. 4. No energy, but we got the Incense. And we already have 2 Charizard in play, so don't need any more Rare Candies, honestly. And let's just play the Bruno, because they actually knocked out our Pokemon on the last turn. So we get to do Bruno, and we got 3 energies in our hand. Let's do Magma Basin if we can. On our second Delphox, no Basin, that's fine. Let's just attach a Capture. We got another Capture to spare, so let's just put a Capture. Oh, okay, we did the Fire, because they could quite easily do Fan of Waves, since they are playing a Rapid Strike deck, they could quite easily search for the Fan with their Octillery and then buy them an extra whole turn. If we can't attack on the next turn, it would be quite bad, because we would be delayed by one extra whole turn, and they can quite easily do a boss. I don't think they have a boss though, playing a Malamar, but if we keep on attacking with a V card, they can do, you know, a double price draw by knocking out the Delphox with one hit, doing Cynthia's Ambition and Rapid Strike Tentacles. So it was actually quite smart to play the basic fire instead of the capture, because Fan of Waves is terrible. It's totally disruptive. So I think I'm just gonna end the voiceover right here and leave you guys to focus on the game. Hope you guys enjoyed this new combo. Today featuring the new Delphox V from Lost Origin, the magical fire attack, doing 120 damage to our opponent's active, plus 120 more to one of their bench Pokemon. We also have our Charizard from Pokemon Go with the Burn Brightly ability, doubling up our firepower, helping us attack with less energies, and also putting only one fire energy into the Lost Zone each time we attack with Delphox's unique moveset. For the bonus snipe, with our Heatmor from Fusion Strike, helping us do 270 spread damage with Exciting Flames. We even have Telescopic Sight to do 30 more to their bench V Pokemons, one Entei V to attack fast, one Greninja for the draw support, and one Skyla to get our Rare Candy, Incense, or even our Stadium card. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and bye for now, lovely people. Enjoy life.